Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on Now. Maine's congressional delegation is putting the opioid epidemic on the front burner. What does that mean for Mainers? We'll tell you.
Plus, an amazing story of survival. A Maine woman sold by her own family into a sex trafficking ring. What she wishes everyone knew.
And a new feature that we're going to be showing you, Now Hiring. We'll take a look at the job market.
This is News Center Now.
I was traded for drugs when I was little. That's kind of how I looked at it, because my family member trafficked me and did drugs. So that's what I called it.
Sometimes we need to see something to believe it. When it comes to the dark topic of sex trafficking, that is the case. It can be difficult to understand. Hello, everyone. I'm Lindsay Mills.
Yeah, and I'm Lee Goldberg. Today is National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Survivors and activists are gathering to share their stories and reveal a terrible business that is thriving underground. Among
them is one Maine survivor. We want to tell you that the way she was treated was horrific, and this report may be disturbing for some viewers, but she's sharing her story for the first time on camera so that no one else endures what she's gone through.
Music is my life.
Selena DeVoe never had lessons, but she's played the guitar since she can remember.
Sound good, not tuned.
Her only light during a childhood that was so dark.
I was 6 years old. I was in kindergarten. I grew up in a small rural town on a little farm. I was sexually abused by my grandfather starting very young, 6 months old. A family member started trafficking me, like I said, when I was 6.
Living at her grandmother's house, she was sold for sex until she was 14.
I was easy prey for yet another trafficking ring.
At 15, she packed her bags and guitar with big dreams for a new life, a fresh start in Hollywood.
I was kidnapped, drugged, and held for 23 months and 11 days.
She was branded and tattooed.
To kind of rectify that, I covered the tattoo that they had given me with a girl that I was enslaved with. She was in my stall for 2 months, and she was 9 years old, and her name was Asia.
I didn't ask to see her tattoo. Selena did, however, show me the burn scars on the backs of her hands from where her abusers, family members included, had put out cigarettes for years.
Made to eat dog food and just some pretty horrific, nasty stuff.
To be able to put it all into words.
I didn't have a label for it.
It's still a challenge today. Selena didn't start talking about it all until 25 years after she escaped, and when she says the healing process started with lots of therapy and the gift of her first child.
I think that you'd be quite surprised to know that the majority of my clients were police officers, a judge, doctors.
An entire decade enslaved.
I was held against my will. And along with other girls, many girls actually, and even boys, until I escaped out a window at a truck stop.
It was in New Mexico.
They gave us sleeping pills. I didn't take them this time. I hope that they don't find these or I will be dead.
She asked to go to the bathroom and was supervised as usual until someone at the store said,
"Can I get you anything?"
Selena kept going, locked herself in the bathroom, climbed the wall and out the window.
A very deep breath, and I took off and I ran for the truck.
It was a semi-truck she spotted and hid in the cab.
I still remember him leaving, turning on music. That was the first time I had heard music. The Sympathy for the Devil by Rolling Stones. A very inhumane experience, but you win when you take that experience and you turn it around and you do good with it.
Okay, now Selena has started a nonprofit, Musicians Against Trafficking. She helps with the nonprofit Keeping Kids Safe and has published her story in the book Sold at 6. Now, we have a live look right now at that vigil that I was just talking about on Facebook Live that's going on in Monument Square. It is, as Lee said, National Human Trafficking Awareness Day, and these are survivors and activists gathering right now as we speak to share their stories and unite to put an end to this.
Yeah, this is a topic we've done a lot on this program. Troy Ryden has done a lot on it for our other programs on News Center, and it's just, it hasn't gone away. It's been around for a long time. And it needs to be constantly talked about, whether it's us or people sharing their stories like she was so brave to do, because it's important and people need to know about it. And it happens in Maine, and you think, oh, that's somewhere else. It's not somewhere else. It's right in our backyards with our children and our friends and our neighbors, and it needs to be talked about. So
absolutely. Now, her incredible story of escaping from that truck stop is an exclusive part of this story. You can find it at our website and our mobile app.
All right, so talking about our website, you should go check it out right now, or, well, kind of while you're talking to us, because we really want to know what you think. WCSH6.com and WLBZ2.com are no more. Everything you know and love can be found. It's one-stop shopping, newscentermaine.com. The whole thing has been redesigned just for you. And I'll tell you what, one of my favorite things, the ads are less intrusive, so you can see the latest weather forecast, stream our live broadcast like you're doing now with this show, vote in a pulse poll, whatever you want without getting stuck behind some kind of takeover ad. So check it out right now and tell us on our Facebook live stream, what do you think? We actually do want your feedback, so not like you ever do, but don't hold back.
Sure. I love the clean look, the nice layout.
It is very nice.
But then again, on the other hand, change is hard, so, you know, could take some adjusting for some.
But sometimes change is necessary.
Exactly.
And this was necessary.
Exactly. Well, lately we've been getting a lot of feedback about the weather, most of it great because it's so warm outside.
But you better soak up the sun now if you have any left where you are, because this weekend not looking great, and Keith couldn't even be here to talk about it, so Jess is in for him tonight.
Leaves it to me, of course. I have to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, it was nice out there today, wasn't it? The high temperatures, very warm. We made it into the upper 40s and low 50s even for some of us. Made it up to 50 in Sanford, 47 for a high today in Portland, 43 in Bangor. So again, very warm, and it's still mild out there. Most of us are in the 40s at this time, and as we go through the overnight hours, we're actually not going to cool off that much at all. A very mild start to the day tomorrow, and the temperature is warming up even more. We're talking about the potential for some record-breaking high temperatures for tomorrow, but we're going to have to deal with the rain. Some clouds around right now off to our south and west. Look at all this moisture. This is moving our way currently, and we'll see the rain start through the overnight hours, and it's really going to get heavy at times as we go through tomorrow afternoon and evening. Because of that, we do have flood advisories in effect all along the coast. We are going to see quite a bit of rain in some spots. Then, on top of that, winter weather advisories in effect for the areas shaded in purple. Winter storm watches in effect for the areas shaded in blue. That is for the day on Saturday, and I'll tell you all about Saturday and what to expect coming up in a little bit. Guys?
All right, Jess, thank you very much. So the opioid crisis, which we obviously talk a lot about on this program, is front and center in our nation's capital this week.
That's right. This week, Maine Senator Susan Collins and Representative Bruce Poliquin are attacking the issue at the federal level, and many recovering advocates in Maine are pleased.
Yeah, Chris Costa following this story for us today. A lot of people focusing on prevention and focusing on recovery, and a lot of people, as Lindsay mentioned, in Maine, happy with this development.
Yeah, absolutely. Senator Susan Collins focused on Operation Hope. That's one of those big name programs that we know about that helps people get into treatment. Representative Bruce Poliquin also issued a list of acts that he hopes will go before Congress. A lot of the recovery advocates that we spoke to say today that these steps are the ones that Maine needs to get on the right track. Thank you. As a session of Alcoholics Anonymous begins, Leslie Clark is adapting to her new role as director of the Portland Recovery Community Center.
I had no idea how much actually goes on in this building.
40,000 visitors a year pass through these halls for all types of recovery from substance use disorder. Leslie knows this well. She's been in recovery for 28 years.
Letting someone know that I know what that's like, I've been there, and that there's hope, that there's a different way. I think that's the core message.
As law enforcement officials in my state tell me that their jail intake rooms resemble hospital emergency rooms.
Maine's congressional delegation is putting the issue front and center.
Is that the problem does not seem to be getting much better.
Senator Susan Collins praised programs like Operation Hope that connects people struggling with substance use disorder with treatment. During a recent Senate hearing,
Community-based.
Representative Bruce Poliquin issued an agenda of 17 legislative acts he hopes to pass as part of a bipartisan heroin task force he serves on, focusing largely on prevention and treatment.
It's very encouraging to see that action is hopefully in the near future.
Justin Reed is an Operation Hope liaison, helping to get people into treatment. He also knows the journey of recovery.
There's a really small window when somebody's ready to get into recovery. If somebody's told we don't have availability for detox or for treatment, they're going to go back to what's comfortable, and in that moment, what's comfortable and what's familiar is using drugs.
Leslie says seeing emphasis on the epidemic at the federal level brings her hope.
I think some of the movement right now to look at policy, but also to fund some initiatives, it's really hopeful.
Here is the legislative agenda issued by Bruce Poliquin and that bipartisan heroin task force. Most of these acts are focused around education, prevention, and treatment, including getting rid of the Medicaid exclusion for substance use disorder and expanding access to medication-assisted treatment, as well as increasing the prescription drug monitoring programs and changing how doctors prescribe opioids.
All right, well,
there's a lot of that in here.
Yeah, we'll stay on top of this for sure. All right, coming up on now, a YouTube star is getting punished for an extremely disturbing video about suicide, how the multimillionaire is getting cut off.
And the latest social media challenge is not only revolting, but it could be dangerous. The Tide Pod viral videos, next.
YouTube finally takes action on a controversial star on their platform after mounting criticism. Katie Ortiz here for Social Stop. Logan Paul got a lot of heat recently after he posted a video of him at what's known as Suicide Forest in Japan. Now, every year, dozens of bodies are discovered there, and his video showed a body hanging from a tree behind him. So now his earnings and visibility on YouTube will be limited. An advertising program called Google Preferred has dropped him. They help connect top channels like Logan Paul's with brand advertisers. A YouTube series called Foursome also parted ways, and the company shelved plans for an upcoming original movie he was slated to appear in called The Thinning: New World Order. Now, that video got millions of views before the 22-year-old finally took it down. He did apologize and say his goal was to raise suicide awareness and that he was, quote, misguided by shock and awe. Now, YouTube says he violated community guidelines, but guys, they're also being condemned for kind of being slow to react to not only Logan's videos, but other inappropriate stuff that's just really being pushed out to, you know, a younger audience.
Yeah, so this is a major problem.
Yeah, and it's not exclusive to YouTube. Let's, you know,
Exactly.
let's
I'm
talk
glad
about
you said
that.
that,
You know,
yeah.
Facebook has gotten a lot of heat for not really being on top of their stuff too. Of course, there's stuff like, you know, Twitter and Snapchat.
Sure, but here's my problem with YouTube as a parent is when you're watching one video, it is suggesting 5 or 6 other ones, and the other sites don't do this, and you end up getting lost in the woods, and you might start on something innocuous, and you end up in something where you see something like that. So parents, you have to watch what your kids are doing on YouTube, because you might end up down a rabbit hole, and it takes you someplace you don't want to be.
Yeah, and you know, YouTube has a team of people that, you know, is doing damage control all the time, but you know, when you have literally thousands of videos being uploaded every day, every minute even, you know, like at what point do they say we gotta do, you know, something bigger?
I'm all for more control, obviously. Okay, so we need to know what the Digital Diva thinks about this, because this is unbelievable, okay? It's called the Tide Pod Challenge. Now, teenagers are uploading videos of themselves biting into detergent pods or pretending to cook with them. Seriously, this is a thing. It started as an online joke because the pods are colorful, like candy, but actually trying to eat one is obviously ridiculously dangerous. Some of the chemicals could make you really sick, could even kill small children. Why are people doing this?
Parents were even concerned too when these first came out, saying that they looked like candy to their toddlers. So now that's just teaching kids, like, yeah, this is fine, everything's fine, but it's not.
What is going on? You're the Digital Diva.
I mean,
fix this.
there's a whole Consumer Reports about
I don't come up with these weird trends.
I think we need to just like push out that Consumer Reports that says the Tide Pods are not healthy to consume.
I mean, soap is not good.
No.
It doesn't. I don't think it
Wasn't
tastes
it
good.
punishment in the old days? You know, like I'm going to wash your mouth out with
sense.
soap. Why are we doing this voluntarily?
KO's out on that one. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's weird.
Okay.
That is a real thing, I will tell you.
Katie, thanks for that
I've
social
never
stuff.
done it. I'm not saying if it happened to me, but it was real.
But the washing the mouth out with
Wash your
soap?
mouth out with soap?
Yeah, it's real.
Not trying to get my mother or father in trouble, just saying.
Just saying. Sure, you're not alone.
Can still do that though.
Yeah. Well, are you exactly? Are you a Mainer looking for a new job? Clay Gordon may have the perfect career opportunity for you. The premiere of Now Hiring next.
And if you're over the snow, you're in luck because, yay, freezing rain is moving in instead. Jess Conley tracking the storm next in the full forecast. All right, remember the classifieds when you could flip through the newspaper, circle the job openings that you were kind of interested in?
That's right. Probably not many people doing that anymore, but that's why Now is helping out some local businesses, showing off career opportunities that are tailored just for Mainers.
It's called Now Hiring. The Maine Marine Patrol, they are looking for a specialist to patrol the northern side of Casco Bay all the way to Kittery. News Center Now's Clay Gordon, her husband, jumped on board in Booth Bay.
Aw.
Maine's Marine Patrol is the state's oldest law enforcement organization, and they are hiring.
Prior job experience, knowledge of operation of boats, navigation, and maintenance of the boats would be hugely helpful.
A specialist is a boat captain for its large patrol vessels. In addition to being a patrol officer, they are responsible for not only enforcing the law,
but also making sure that the boat's being run safely, provide an effective and productive platform for the officers to use for either boardings, hauling traps, going offshore to check boats or to check gear or whatever the case is. We're also involved in search and rescue.
the vessel is not only a patrol boat. The doors come off and can transform from a nice warm cabin to an open-air lobster boat. And we started by pulling traps.
There's an individual tag for each license year. So that's one of the big things that we look at, is to make sure that this year's tag is in it. There's quite a bit that has to do with the trap construction. They have to have a biodegradable escape panel, so that if this trap is to come detached from the buoy, it allows the lobsters to escape. These will rust out over time, and this will float free so that the lobsters can escape and they don't get trapped in the trap forever. Sea creatures, critters, not a lot of non-marine resource related things, but once in a while, once in a while.
There were a few lobsters in the traps. Then they threw them back in the ocean. Another aspect of the job, boarding boats.
Either sit on the edge or back to back. Okay.
Mainly to check safety equipment, traps, and to measure the catch. I hopped on the tender, a rigid hull inflatable boat, and made the short trip. This fisherman knew I was boarding only moments before, and he allowed me to jump in.
How you doing, Clay? Thanks for letting us on board today. No problem.
And then when I check the underside, I'm looking for eggs underneath. And then when I check the tail, there's a regulation that any female lobster caught with a bee taken out of its tail needs to be thrown back because it's been caught with eggs in the past. And that notch was put there to show that it's a reproducing female lobster, so it's a conservation effort.
This boarding was compliant, and it's an opportunity for the officers to meet some of the fishermen in his patrol area. And this could be you.
One of the best things that you can do is actually come with us. Come do a ride along, do a job shadow, see what we do on a daily basis, have a chance to talk more in depth about the position, and it gives you, as a prospective applicant looking in, a much better feeling for what the job really is like.
Now, this is not an entry-level law enforcement job. You must have a U.S. Coast Guard captain's license and pass the Maine Criminal Justice Alert and Physical Fitness Test. It has the same disqualifiers as other law enforcement positions. To apply and for more information, click the link at our website.
We're also looking for some more Maine jobs that are hiring, and we'll send Clay to go do them. You okay with that? We send your husband out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good for him.
Just making sure. She couldn't be happier.
Exactly,
Get out.
Exactly. Oh, Jess, we are loving the mild temps.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It was great today. Temperatures even warmer for the day tomorrow. Made it into the upper 40s today across much of the state. Tomorrow we're talking low 50s, but this is what's on the way. Lots of rain well off to our south and west right now. It's going to move closer to our area as we go through the overnight hours tonight and definitely through the day tomorrow. Some huge rainfall totals on the way. So we'll kind of go through it hour by hour. Waking up tomorrow, a few showers around. Then as we go into tomorrow afternoon, you can see the heavier, steadier rain off to the north and west. By tomorrow night, starting to pick up for many of us. It should stay rain for most of the day tomorrow. It's once we get into Saturday that things start to get a little bit interesting, I guess I'll say. By late tomorrow night, again, you can see some pretty heavy rain across much of the state. And then as we get into Saturday morning, we'll start to see that changeover happen. It's going to happen from northwest to southeast, so be aware. If you're out early Saturday morning driving, it could definitely be slick on some of the roadways. Some of this is freezing rain, some of this is sleet. So again, when that freezing rain happens, of course, it makes things very slippery. Pretty much the situation through the day on Saturday and into Saturday afternoon as well. Things will start to wrap up into early Sunday, and then it's going to clear up for the second half of the weekend. So if you have plans Sunday, the better day to do them this weekend. As far as rainfall totals go, could see some huge totals down east, 2.5 up to 3 inches of rain. We do have flood watches in effect for the areas shaded in green, winter weather advisories, and winter storm watches in effect for the areas in purple and blue, because we'll see some snowfall on the backside of that system. So again, to review, Saturday morning, many of us starting to see that sleet and freezing rain. As it moves out, as we go into Saturday afternoon, that snow will be on the backside where the cold air is. Some of us in far northern and western Maine, mountains and higher elevations, could even pick up to about 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. Here's your extended forecast again as we go into tomorrow. It is going to be warm, but it's going to be rainy too. Temperatures in the 30s for Saturday. They'll be gradually falling throughout the day, and then after that, we're back into the teens and 20s as we go into next week. It's going to be on the chilly side, but geez, be careful on Saturday. I don't love the freezing rain. I do love the snow, but again, not the freezing rain.
Well documented, yes. Thank you for your love for snow. We got it. All right. News Center at 5:30 coming up next. Let's check in with Cindy Williams, see what's coming up. Hey, Cindy.
Hi guys, we have got new details in a homicide in Bangor. News Center's Tennyson Coleman is at the scene. He's going to have a live update for us in the next half hour. And they may be our neighbors to the north, but this February there are enemies on ice. Why the women's Olympic hockey team is keeping a close eye on Canada. Those stories and more coming up at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, sounds good. Thanks so much, and we will be right back.
All right, lots of the snow and ice is melting, and with the roads being so muddy, people are lining up at car washes.
At the car wash. One car wash in Waterville thought the queue was getting out of hand. They posted this sign saying, "Don't be an idiot. Do not block the road waiting for the car wash. It's illegal and annoying." Thanks to Brian Ames for sending in this photo.
All right, who sings that song? Car wash. Quick, you have 8 seconds.
Working at the car wash. I don't know.
Rolls Royce. Okay, News Center at 5:30. Coming up next.
Mr.